K-dramas and romance have gone hand in hand for so long that many viewers now believe that K-dramas wouldn't be complete without some sprinkles of love. However, this cannot be further from the truth. And many series have shown that romance is just an added element. In today's list, though, we are ticking off 5 K-dramas which are good as they are, but would be better if their love line disappeared altogether. Number 1. Memories of Alhambra. Memories of Alhambra boasts a unique storyline, where reality and AR battle games start to merge. It started when Jin-woo, CEO of a game company, embarked on a trip to Spain to meet with a famous developer, and ended up in the hostel of Hee-ju, the female lead. Packed with mysteries, cool action scenes, and a famous cast, with Hyun-bin and Park Shin-hye, the series attracted strong attention, and it somewhat managed to do a decent job. Except for one thing, the love line. In particular, the romance between the mature and closed-up Jin-woo and the younger Hee-ju just emitted no chemistry. There was little room for development, simply because Jin-woo was too busy fighting for his life, while Hee-ju just sat out the entire time. It did not help that our female lead was badly written, if not completely irrelevant to the plot. She felt more like an afterthought added just for the romance, rather than a promisingly strong female lead with an actual personality. So yes, Memories of Alhambra will suffer a little change without the love line entirely, and it would have more room to clear up all the plot twists, rather than leaving us with multiple questions as it ends. Number 2. Prison Playbook. Sharing the same screenwriter with the Reply series and Hospital Playlist, it is no wonder that Prison Playbook is a totally watch-worthy drama. However, when asked what created the charm of this unique series, most of its fans cited its multi-layered characters, wry humor, and meaningful stories. And very, very few, if any at all, mention the romance. Watching Prison Playbook, the audience finds themselves following the steps of famous baseball player Kim Jae-hyuk, who was sent to prison after beating a criminal to pulp. There, he struggled to assimilate to the prison life, facing adversities and struggling to keep his sanity, yet getting to form meaningful relationships at the same time. He also had a love line with the medical student Kim Ji-ho, and the two shared quite the history and friendly feelings, even after their breakup. Their love was healthy, balanced, and super tender, but in the context of the series, it just wouldn't fit. First, many fans do not seem to fancy the age gap between the couple. Ji-ho is much younger, and Jae-hyuk had known her since she was a tiny little girl. Moreover, Ji-ho seemed to view Jae-hyuk as more of an older brother, and hardly had any purpose in the plot, except for visiting our main character in prison a couple times. Some may argue that she serves as a connection between the main character and the outside, but other characters can do that just as well, like Jae-hyuk's manager and his best friend. So while Ji-ho is still a great woman with her own life, she just pales in comparison to the series' other characters. This makes the drama's love line extremely unnecessary, especially when compared to the bromances and family-like bonds between our favorite inmates. Number 3. Itaewon Class. Itaewon Class is a recent must-watch. Its story promises something powerful and motivating, as ex-convict Park Se-roy attempts to open his own bar/restaurant in memory of his deceased father. He also tries to seek revenge against Janga Group, which was the culprit of his sufferings. Watching Itaewon Class, we get to see strong female characters, multi-layered life lessons, and eye-opening stories about the struggles of minority groups. It was thrilling and exciting to watch for sure, but we have to admit that it kind of fell flat in the romance aspect. Yes, we are getting a love triangle between the male lead, his childhood friend Suwa, and the cunning female lead Yi-so, a love rectangle actually, if you count Yi-soo's friend Gun-soo, and his unrequited crush. While Suwa and Se-roy got a past connection, Yi-so fell in love at second sight. While Suwa knew Se-roy got feelings for her and took advantage of that, Yi-so circled around the two, separated them, and snagged the guy for herself. Well, it was quite the love story, but we have to admit that the romance often feels forced. Yi-so had no reason to fall in love so quickly, especially when she's antisocial and often disregards everyone's feelings, including her mother and her best friend. Meanwhile, Se-roy was in jail, scarred, and revenge-filled. Not exactly the best mindset to fall in love. For over half the series, we see Yi-so chasing the slow-on-emotion Se-roy, who never seems close to returning her feelings. And yet, one time skip and one kidnapping incident later, he was suddenly willing to kneel in front of the man he hated, his object of revenge, and giving away his permanent pride, all for the power of love. This sequence of action seriously distances us away from the more exciting startup and revenge part of the series. and honestly was a drift from Park Se-roi's character concept. And if you're wondering about the best friend with the unrequited crush on our female lead, well, let's just say that's another reason why Itaewon Class would be better off without the romance. Number 4. Mine. At first glance, Mine isn't the most captivating title for K-lovers. With keywords like murder mysteries, life of the upper class, and complicated relationships, people are often more geared towards the buzzworthy penthouse. But it has its own charm. The story wraps up tightly, there's no ridiculous plot twists, the character development was decent, and all was fine except for this one element: the romance. But it was not the love between the main characters that we're discussing today, but rather the rich guy poor girl relationship between Soo-hyuk and Yoo-yeon. They apparently fell in love because Yoo-yeon seemed to fill the void in Soo-hyuk's heart, and kind of cured his abandonment issues. But their story just didn't work. Their introduction was abrupt, lacking development, and a Cinderella story just doesn't fit the darker theme of the series. Like, in the first episode, Yoo-yeon is introduced as a simple maid, and then, out of nowhere, she was seen sharing a mesmerizing kiss in the garden with Soo-hyuk, the first grandson of this huge conglomerate. No development whatsoever. Some may argue that this is a background romance that hardly affects the plot. It's just there to add some light to one whole shady series. Still, there are better ways to work a background couple, and especially without neglecting the main love line. In the end, we are disappointed to see a marriage that lacks backstory, while the other is too fleeting to be a romance at all. Number 5. My Country, The New Age. From its title alone, we can garner that My Country, The New Age will be extremely political-centric and probably super heavy and tragic. And, well, it nailed nearly everything. The acting, the cinematography, the intricate story. But the series has still raised considerable questions for its writing, and they all revolve around its love story. Early in the series, we are introduced to 3 unique characters with their own dreams, complexities, and convictions, who cross paths in one fateful encounter. There are So-hui and Sun-ho, an unlikely duo due to their family background and beliefs in life, who were best friends until life forced them to become enemies. And of course, there's the rebellious courtesan Lady Hee-jae, running away for spreading anti-war posters and upending the life of our 2 male leads. And as you know, one thing leads to another. So-hui and Hee-jae fell in love. But in such a turbulent series, romance isn't exactly the first thing we're looking for, especially when it is not exactly well developed. The couple only share fleeting moments, and their relationship came a bit too suddenly. It didn't help that every romantic scene happened in this untouched and scenic landscape, while the rest of the world was at war, making them super out of place. In fact, many fans even thought that the series' bromance outshined in this case, and that the series would be better off focusing on the conflict between So-hui and Sun-ho, instead of a completely unnecessary love line. And that's the list. Do you agree that these dramas should have no love story at all? Are there any other series that you think would fit in this list? Just let us know in the comment section. And if you want more videos like this, like, share, and subscribe to bbalidrama. We'll come back soon. See ya!